What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today I'm doing a specific discussion video. This time we're talking about penguins. Penguins are a very specific deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, it's one of those weird decks that, archetypes that falls into like a weird category of where I was sitting here and I wonder, is this really a deck? The deck really doesn't have any like spell and trap cards. Really, they just have like kind of a handful of monsters that actually really, when you read them, are like, you're like, that could have potential. And so it makes me really wonder, like, make this an archetype. So like a full-on archetype that just wants, is a full-on thing. I just want Konami to do that, to realize this is huge. Like, weirdly enough, I literally made a news video about just the new Penguin Synchro card, and that video got like more views than like most of all of like news videos that I put out like ever. And that blew me away because there's only one card. It's a random Penguin card, but so many people were so hype about it. So I think it's like clearly popular, would clearly do well. And so the reason this sparked my interest today is because we got concept art revealed today for the Penguin Heroes, which actually gets me excited because it may make me think that if Konami wanted to go in and really reveal like concept art for them, it makes me think like maybe they're gonna go a little bit deeper on this. So just getting into them, this is the artwork of the Penguin Heroes. This is the actual card itself. It's actually pretty good. It just says like on, let's see. Your opponent can't target face down defense such monsters you control with card effects, and then if this card synchro summon, you can special summon a penguin from your deck face down. And when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can quick effect flip a face down penguin monster face up, which is pretty cool. So the idea is if you make it, you can set a penguin soldier, and if your opponent activates any monster effect, you can flip up a penguin soldier and bounce any two monsters on the field, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's a double bounce. It's pretty respectable, honestly, and your opponent can't target it. If they go to battle phase, they're still going to lose their monster. So it has some cool like things. It's not enough by itself, but it's still a cool card. Now when we get into the artwork, they even have their own names. Konami went as far as to like give them their own names, so this could be potentially names for individual monsters, not just this one card, but we might get individual monster cards for these. That would be so cool if we got main deck monsters. One for Emperor Penguin. She's a spellcaster. She's like the cutest one. She is incredible. I love her. Gentoo Penguin. He's a priest. He's like kind of looks like a villain kind of penguin, but he's like an old nice guy. I can't tell. But I love him nonetheless. We have Macaroni Penguin. He's just the hero. His name is Macaroni Penguin. That's insane to me. He's cool. He's like the main guy. I believe he's in the front of the card art. Yep, he sure is. Then we have a Rockhopper Penguin. He's a martial artist. He's another really cool one, in my opinion. I love his design as well. And then we have the last one here, which is Cape Penguin, who is a ninja. Also very, very cool. So just really cool. I like that they went in on that, and it really makes me think if Konami's coming up with a backstory for penguins, maybe this isn't just a one card Penguin Heroes. Maybe Konami will go in and make them all individual cards. I've already mentioned this before in other videos, but man, this would be insane, and I just want to dedicate a whole video talking about it. So looking at what penguins already have besides Penguin Heroes, we already talked about Penguin Soldier. This is a great card to just special off of Heroes, but still, if you're going to set 3 back row and set a monster, Penguin Soldier is one of the, still, even to this day, one of the better monsters to set with a multiple back row, if you're just going to set pass. So it's still a pretty cool card. I'm definitely into him. Hopefully they get maybe some other alleyways to like flip set monsters a little bit more. That could be pretty cool. I don't know. Penguin Soldier is definitely a cool card. Next up, there's a really cool card, Great Emperor Penguin. This is 100% a slept-on card for sure, because this card just says, you contribute himself. Whoa. All right, antivirus shenanigans. You contribute this card to special summon up to 2 penguin monsters from your deck, except for himself. That's it. It's not once per turn, so you could just, even if this card gets ashed, or you could just revive it with Monster Reborn or whatever, and then fire it off again. It's a 1 for 2. The problem is it's a level 5, so the deck would need some better ways to like put this on field. But as long as you find a way to put it on field, this card is pretty dang good. Honestly, turbos even to any 2 penguins, so I like that a lot. Next up, we have Glacial Beast Polar Penguin. This is actually a very new card that just came out in Battles of Legend Armageddon with the rest of the Glacial Beast stuff. But this one's kind of an individual card that doesn't necessarily have to work with the Glacial Beast. This card reads, if it's special summon, you can target a monster your opponent controls, return it to the hand. It's pretty popular in Penguins. They kind of like to bounce monsters a lot. And then he also says, if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect by you or your opponent, so you could destroy it yourself, you can target one card your opponent controls, return it to the hand again. So it's kind of just like a double bounce. I mean, you could just special summon this card, Well, you can't use both effects on the same turn, but if you special summon this card on your turn, bounce a monster, then you could like somehow pop this card on your opponent's turn, get another bounce. I don't know, kind of cool. It's a tuner as well, so keep in mind if the Penguins have any other normal like a level 2 non-tuner, you just go like this guy into this guy and another one. This guy gets you a bounce on summon, and then you go into your Penguin guy, which gets you a set Penguin Soldier. We already have some little plays. They're not really developed. They're not good enough now. But if they made this in an archetype, these could be some interesting things, right? All right, moving on, we have Nightmare Penguin. This is kind of a card that's like, it's like Penguin Soldier, but just not as good. This card says all water monsters you control gain 200 attack. That's actually kind of nice. It's a nice little buff for sure. But when this card's flipped face up, you can target any card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. Yeah, same thing. The only thing different about this guy is it is an 1800 body, which is definitely relevant. That's pretty respectable 1800 defense. Especially if you're setting it off this guy and you don't want to get run over super easy. That could be a thing. Even though it only bounces 1 instead of 2. All right, and then next up we have No Penguin. This is a kind of cool card because it just says if during either player's turn, when the effect of a penguin monster is activated, you can special summon this card from your grave. During either player's turn, all you have to do is activate a penguin effect. Boom. This card comes back from grave. That's pretty cool because if the deck gets like a level 2 tuner, you could like tune this card and another card into heroes, and then this guy revives himself because you activated heroes on summon. And then his other effect is really cool that just says if a card would be returned from the field to the hand by a penguin card effect, you can banish it instead. So Penguin Soldier becomes a banish 2 instead of just a bounce 2, really adding extra power to that play. So I like Penguin. I like No Penguin. I think he's interesting. I think if you can easily set him up, he's cool. He does extend himself, so, you know, you can pull him out of the deck with something like your Emperor Penguin. There is some utility there. There is some cool things there that I didn't want to know with No Penguin. And the last card here is Puny Penguin. This card's okay. It's not amazing. It just says if he's sent from the field to the graveyard after being flipped up, you can target a penguin in grave and special summon it in either face-up attack or face-down defense. So it's technically an extender, but you'd have to already have it set and then flip it up, and then it needs to be sent to grave. It's a lot of requirements, but it is a card that could potentially be okay. It is an extender. If you use it to like revive something like your Emperor Penguin, it could be kind of relevant because that card just gets you into like your better penguins. So it's pretty cool. But that's all the stuff that the Penguins have right now, and it's all monsters. I'd love to see some spells and traps. Like if they just made like, oh my gosh, if in the next set we just got like all 5 of these monsters, right? All 5 of these guys, you can make them main deck, you can make them extra deck monsters. I don't care. Make these cards and then make like 3 spells, 2 traps. Boom, we're in there. We are in there like swimmer. The deck could actually do something. It's based off flip effects somewhat, so you know you always have to temper expectations there because outside of what Shadal's and Subterra Guru, we've never seen like a real flip summon archetype that actually does anything good. And those are, you know, things that could be, you know, something to compare these to. But I'd be curious what they would want to do. But man, I just think this would be such a hit. This would be one of those things where like fans are craving it. If they did it, it'd be such a hit for fans. So many people would love it. If they actually made them somewhat respectable too, because we already have access to some pretty interesting stuff. We could be looking at a really interesting and cool archetype. So I don't know, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below on this. Like, what do you think about Penguins? Like, if they made an archetype here, what would you like to see? Like, obviously stuff that's maybe a deck that could help you very easily churn out Emperor Penguin because he can get you so much. You know what I mean? Like, if they just made good main deck Penguin monsters and then also made it so that this guy's easy to get out, that would be so strong, right? So I'd be very curious to see if that could be a thing. And then obviously they could just give him something like monsters that search you something on summon, and then this guy gets you them, they get you another plus, and then this guy ends up being like literally a +2, maybe even more than that, like an entire play by himself if you just resolve him once. So very cool. I just think there's so much potential here, not just competitively, but in just like a scope of like if Konami wanted to make a beloved archetype, this could be like frogs, except the one problem with frogs is they're cute. A lot of people love the cuteness of their design. A lot of people love their control style. They play a lot of traps. A lot of people like that. But they messed up frogs because they made them able to FTK, and a huge problem in certain formats. So a lot of people have some hatred for frogs because of memories like that. Penguins have no sort of memories like that, right? It's all love for penguins. Everybody loves penguins anyway. They're amazing, like cute animals, and I just think it's a huge like alley Konami could go down to make a product really desirable, especially if they make them somewhat competitively relevant. Not crazy competitively relevant, but you know what I mean, like a potential rogue deck. A rogue deck that you wouldn't be surprised if it made a top cut at a regional. Like even that good, and I'm satisfied. That's all I'm looking for. I just like decks that can play. So, yeah. I don't know, guys. I guess I could, in maybe another video, really try and go in depth on, like, if I could make 10 Penguin cards myself, what exactly would I want? But that's, you know, you could do, with 10 cards in any archetype, you could make anything, right? So that it's really not, like, super specific, but I don't know. Definitely let me know your guys' thoughts on these down below, on penguins in general. What, like, would you want to see them as an archetype? What kind of archetype? Like, what kind of support would you want to see? How much support? And yeah, just general thoughts on that. Like, because I think this would be so cool, and we actually have, you know, concept art about it, which means Konami's thinking about it, they're churning about it. I believe. That's what I believe, right? So that's going to do it for me here today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, leave in the comments down below what you think about these ideas, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.